welcome back, guys. I'm going to just talk about chord improvisation in the key of D. In this instance, we're going to choose a song by Guns N' Roses called Sweet Child of Mine, and through the verse of that song is a real shining example of how Slash plays beautiful arpeggio notes or chord tone notes over the chord changes. The song is actually in the key of D major, and the chords he's playing in this verse section of the song: 2 bars of D major, 2 bars of C major, 2 bars of G major, back into D major, and then he repeats it. So the chord progression that he's playing is, it sounds like this. So Slash is actually playing over that chord progression. He's not actually playing a D major scale. He's actually adding a blues feel by playing the G major scale. And what that means is he's playing actually, the notes of the G major scale have this C natural note rather than the C sharp from the D major scale. So it gives it a real kind of bluesy feel, and I like to play that scale myself over major chords. I like to play the 7th scale, if you like, and it's a sound that I like and I go to a lot, and I'm kind of used to hearing it, and I like the way that it feels nice and rocky and bluesy rather than very bright and majory sounding. So it depends on what song you're playing, I guess, and what sort of feel you want. And I like the way that he plays this G major scale over the chord progression. So over the first chord, the D major chord, Slash goes straight into the 3rd note, or the 3rd arpeggio or chord tone of the D major chord, and that's the F sharp. So he hits the F sharp straight off. And there it is, the F sharp over the D chord. Now when the rhythm guitarist goes to the C major chord, what does Slash do? He goes straight to the 3rd of the C major chord, which is the E note. Here's the chord. And when the rhythm guitarist then comes up with the G chord, Slash here, Slash, he goes straight to the root note, which is the G note. Then he adds a few colourful non-chord tones, if you like, non-chord notes, before he comes back into the D again. So over the G chord, he adds this. Then he comes back into the D chord, and he hits on straight into that F sharp again. So again, the C chord, and the G, into that D major chord. So a little bit of a bend. So he holds it up to the G over the G chord. Back into the D. Now on the second time through, he plays very similar over the D and C chords, and then he adds quite a high E note over the C chord, which almost sounds like a tension note. It's quite high, but it's actually a chord tone, but he's chosen a beautiful E note over the C chord. So when he repeats on the second time through, he goes back into the D chord again, and again the same kind of notes over the C chord. Again, he repeats, and over that C chord, he just adds this. I'll go through the notes. Which is that high E note again. So he has this. Back into the arpeggio notes of the G chord. And he has this over that. So he has this kind of a few bluesy licks and a few bluesy bends. And that high E note bends up to the F sharp, which is the third of the D note. And he adds the high A over that D chord. And that's the end of the actual melody or improvisation that he does over that. So I'll play the whole thing through. So Slash knows the chord tones and the arpeggio notes, of course, because he really nails them in that melody that he plays over that verse section. So he's playing very intelligently, and the other notes that he's choosing to colour around those arpeggios are also beautiful choices as well. Some of the high bends that he does adds a little bit of tension to that melody, and so I think he's done a really good job with the notes that he's chosen, the way he's played that section. So it's just an example of basic improvisation, as we spoke earlier, using the first, the third and the fifth over the chord changes, because they are notes you can really depend on, rely on, and you can hold off on them for quite a while. They're very, very safe with those notes. And also the other notes that you bring in, the second, the fourth, the sixth and the seventh, they can add tension and a dissonance. And then when you understand that that tension can be released to one of the chord tones, it brings the listener back into a comfortable position, and it's an exciting way of playing. And I encourage you to look at the arpeggio notes, the chord tones, the scale tones of what key you're playing in. Look at playing different keys. We can maybe go into a different key next video. And in the meantime, have fun always, and any questions, or if you send me any messages, I'll be happy to answer. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks very much.